friends, Allie here. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to crochet this easy breezy, super chunky bun beanie. This beanie features a hole at the top so you can wear your hair up in a bun or ponytail, but still keep your head warm. And this beanie is very warm and cozy. It's perfect for cold weather. This is actually my third easy breezy bun beanie crochet pattern. Each of them uses a different yarn weight. So this super chunky bun beanie uses a super bulky 6-weight yarn. If you have a smaller yarn weight you would like to use instead, then check out my Easy Breezy collection playlist. I'll leave a link down below in the description box if you want to follow along with any of those other videos. This super chunky bun beanie works up super quick. I was able to make mine in less than 30 minutes and it uses less than 1 skein of yarn. It's also beginner friendly as it basically uses only one basic crochet stitch. This pattern includes 4 sizes: child 3 to 10 years, teen/adult small, adult medium, and adult large. I'll be making the teen/adult small size in today's video, but the instructions for all sizes will be up on the screen so you can follow along no matter what size you're making. You can find the free written pattern for the Easy Breezy Super Chunky Bun Beanie on my website, theturtletrunk.com, or if you'd like to purchase the ad-free printable PDF pattern, you can find it in my Etsy shop and on Ravelry. I'll leave links to all of those places down below. Now, if you're ready to get started, let's head over to our supply list and size chart, and let's get making. For this pattern, you will need super bulky 6-weight yarn. I'll be using Lion Brand yarn, Wool Ease Thick and Quick. Yardage for each size will be on the next slide. You'll also need a 9mm or M/N crochet hook, scissors, and a yarn needle. For the hole at the top of the beanie, you can either make a yarn chain or use a hair elastic. I like to make a yarn chain as it matches the rest of the beanie and isn't as noticeable, and you can also make the chain as long or short as you want to adjust the size of the hole at the top, depending on how thick or thin your hair is. Or you can use a hair elastic instead. The perks of using one is that it will stay stretchier for longer, but unless it's the exact same color as the yarn you're using, you will be able to see it. So it's up to you which method you'd like to use. Like I said, I'll be using a yarn chain, but I will be showing you how to use the hair elastic too if you want to use that instead. Here is our size chart. In the first and second columns, you'll see each of the 4 sizes and the head circumferences. In the third column is the hat circumference, which will be about 1 to 2 inches smaller than the head since the hat will stretch. In the fourth column is the hat height, and this is with a 2-inch folded brim, which can be pulled up more or less if needed. And in the last column is the yarn yardage. It's always a good idea to check your gauge before starting a new project, so please take a few minutes before getting started to make a gauge swatch and adjust your hook size up or down if needed. Like I mentioned before, you can either use a hair elastic for the top of your beanie or a yarn chain. I will show you first how to use the hair elastic, then I will show you how to use the yarn chain. So for step 1, follow along with one of the 2 methods. For the hair elastic method, start with a slip knot on your hook, then join your yarn to the elastic with a slip stitch by inserting your hook through the elastic and then pulling the working yarn through the loop on your hook, just like so. Now you can move on to step 2. If you are not using an elastic, then we will make a ring out of a yarn chain. Start with a slip knot on your hook and chain 16. To make a chain, yarn over and pull your working yarn through the loop on your hook. Feel free to chain more or less to adjust the size of the ring. After working all of your chains, we're going to join to the very first chain with a slip stitch to create a loop. Now that we have our ring there, we're going to move on to step 2. For step 2, we're going to make a long chain, and this is going to be the length of our beanie. The chain numbers written above are in order from the smallest size to the largest. So if you're making the child size, you'll chain 21. The teen/adult small size will chain 22. The medium size will chain 23. And the large size will chain 24. If you want to make your beanie shorter or longer, you can chain any number to get your desired length. Once you're done your chain, it should look something like this. Now onto row 1, we're going to work back into the chain and start with a half double crochet stitch in the second chain from the hook, then half double crochet into each chain across. So yarn over and insert your hook into the second chain from the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And again, yarn over and insert your hook into the next chain, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So for the rest of row 1, just work 1 half double crochet stitch into each chain across. When you get to the end of row 1, we're going to slip stitch into the center ring or elastic. This slip stitch and the chain 1 at the beginning of each row do not count as stitches. So if you have a yarn chain like me, you're just going to work around the whole chain, and I'm also going to work around the tail end I have left from the beginning. You can either work around it or leave it and weave that end in later. Then we're going to chain 1 and turn, and now we're on to row 2. For row 2, we're going to half double crochet into the back loop only in each stitch across. We're going to start in the last half double crochet stitch from the last row. Make sure you do not work into the chain 1 or the slip stitch we just worked, as those do not count as stitches. Make sure you're only working back into the previous half double crochet stitches. If you have a hard time figuring out what the last half double crochet stitch is, you can use a stitch marker to mark that stitch after you work it. So for row 2, we're going to half double crochet into the back loop only. So when you're looking at the top of your stitches, you can see 2 loops. The loop closest to you is the front loop, and the loop farthest away from you is the back loop. So we're going to work a regular half double crochet stitch, but work it into the back loop only. So yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop only of that first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So we're just going to repeat that all the way across for row 2. Half double crochet into the back loop only into each stitch across. I'm just coming up to the end of row 2, and you can see by working into the back loop only, we've created this beautiful ribbing effect. At the end of the row, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and now we're on to row 3. For row 3, we're going to half double crochet in the back loop only into each stitch across. I'm just coming up to the end of row 3. When you finished your last half double crochet, we're going to slip stitch around the hair elastic or center ring, chain 1 and turn. Now we're on to row 4. For row 4, we're going to half double crochet in the back loop only in each stitch across. Again, remember to work into the last half double crochet stitch from the previous row, not into the slip stitch or the chain 1 we just worked. So for row 4, just work a half double crochet in the back loop only into each stitch across. I'm just coming up to the end of row 4. At the end of the row, we're going to chain 1 and turn. And now for rows 5 on, we're just going to repeat the last 2 rows, so rows 3 and 4. So just repeat rows 3 and 4 until you reach the number of rows for your size. If you look at the instructions on top of the screen, the child size will stop at the end of row 22. The teen/adult small will be the end of row 24. Row 26 for the medium, and row 28 for the large. Feel free to work more or less rows for a larger or smaller beanie around. Just be sure to end on an even numbered row. So I'm just going to continue repeating rows 3 and 4, and I will catch back up with you when I'm on my last row. So I just finished my last row, and since we ended on an even numbered row, you should be at the bottom of your beanie. Now we're going to join the 2 sides of the beanie together. So I'm going to chain 1 at the end of my last row and turn. And I want the last row I worked to be on top of the first row of the beanie. So I'm going to flip my beanie so that the side of the beanie I'm on now is on top and the other side is on the bottom, just like so. Now we're going to join the 2 edges together by working a slip stitch into each stitch across, working into the front loop only of the last row we worked, and working into the corresponding foundation chain on the other side. So again, when you're looking at the tops of your stitches, the loop closest to you is the front loop. So we're going to be working in the front loop only this time. So you're going to insert your hook into that front loop only of the last row we worked, and then also into the corresponding chain on the other side. So starting in that first stitch, I'm going to insert my hook into the front loop only, and then also into the very first foundation chain on the other side, and I'm going to slip stitch them together. And we're just going to repeat that all the way across, working into each stitch up the beanie. I'm just coming up to the end of the row. When you finish the last stitch, we're going to slip stitch around the top ring and tie off our yarn, leaving about a 6-inch long tail, long enough that you can weave it in. So now that it's cut, I'm just going to pull the yarn through. Now you can weave in your ends. You want to weave them in on the side that is currently facing you. Once they're all weaved in, we're going to flip our beanie inside out, just like so. So you can't even see where we seamed it up. And then you can fold over your brim. It should be about 2 inches. And there we go. There we have our easy breezy, super chunky bun beanie. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget you can find this crochet pattern and many more free patterns on my website, theturtletrunk.com. Be sure to check out my Easy Breezy playlist here on my YouTube channel for more video tutorials for this collection. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.